On today's show, why won't the Warriors give Jonathan Kaminga that player option that he wants? We're going to weigh the pros and cons of potentially caving to that deal, plus the wild, wild west. Why the biggest issue standing in the way of the Golden State Warriors having a really successful season may just be the conference they're in. Let's talk about it.
You are Locked On Warriors, your daily Golden State Warriors podcast.
What are they going to say now?
Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is going on, everyone? Welcome to the Locked On Warriors. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day, coming at you Monday through Friday, YouTube, wherever you get your audio podcast. We appreciate you very much for hanging out with us. My name, Charlie Walter, formerly 95.7 The Game. That's the radio flagship station of the Golden State Warriors. Also covered the team on TV for CBS News Bay Area. Special live edition. I see 9 of you already in the program. Hop in the comments. Please leave some questions. It is that time of the year. We are back to 5 episodes per week, and the Golden State Warriors still have not made any moves. This is where the money is made, everyone. This is where we really dive into some sidebar content, but fortunately, Kuminga and the situation is always giving us some very fresh updates. On today's show, Jonathan Kaminga, what's it going to take to get a deal? Why won't the Golden State Warriors throw in that player option? What is a player option, if you were wondering? Plus the Wild Wild West. We will get into the Western Conference as a whole in the comments, in the chat. Please let me know some hot takes you have when it comes to the Western Conference. Like my hot take, I kind of like the Portland Trail Blazers. Maybe not for this year, but I like what they're doing. But let's get into the latest from the Jonathan Kuminga situation. We've been talking about this for a long time, and the latest comes from Sam Amick saying that the Warriors may be a little reluctant to trade Jonathan Kuminga to Sacramento, partly because they fear he could become a star there. The exact quote, there is a sense from people involved that there's a real reluctance not only to finally quit him, if you will, but also to see him go up the road to another Northern California NBA team. It's run by a guy in Vivek who used to be with the Warriors. And what if Kuminga blows up and becomes a total star? From a personal ownership dynamic level, there are some folks that feel like that could be playing a small part. Again, it's not really that relevant because the other things are the real obstacles. But I mean, Joe, like a lot of owners, is very involved too. Yeah, he could have just mentioned the name Joe Lacob. We get at this point that Mike Dunleavy, I think it's fair to say, wants to use Joe Lacob. Joe Lacob is a trade chip. Jonathan Kuminga is a trade chip. Steve Kerr doesn't care for Jonathan Kuminga as a player, at least on this current team that he has. Doesn't care for him. We know this. We're not breaking any news. Joe Lacob loves him. Still believes in him. What's going to happen is the question. The latest we have heard in terms of contract negotiations, here's what is on the board. So first of all, I guess Jimmy Butler, per Dalton Johnson of NBC Sports Bay Area, Jimmy Butler's confused. He's like, what the heck's going on? He reached out to Jonathan Kuminga and reached out to those involved with the Golden State Warriors and asked, what's going on right now? And we're all asking that same question. What we do know, though, is that the two sides met August 11th. Dunleavy, Lacob, Aaron Turner, who is Kuminga's agent, and Jonathan Kuminga. They met down in Miami. They had a meeting. They let some things out, and offers were made after, and rebuttals were made to those offers. Kuminga's camp basically said, how about you just give us a 1-year ballooned qualifying offer? We waive the no trade clause. You can potentially trade us at the deadline as an expiring contract. How appealing is an expiring contract? If obviously there needs to be an extension made, but that probably wouldn't be too difficult to get done. Still not the deal that the Golden State Warriors want. Joe Lacob reportedly citing that he doesn't want to lose Kuminga for nothing. So they're not concerned about the qualifying offer, it seems, are the Warriors. The offers the Warriors threw to Kuminga, it was 3 years, 78. My math may be a little off here. 25, 50, 74 million over the course of 3 years, 48 million guaranteed 2 years. So a 2-year contract with that third year being a team option. Now, Anthony Slater has reported that Kaminga will sign as John Hancock. That thing is set in stone. He will be down for whatever the Warriors are asking of him. He just wants that third-year player option, basically as an olive branch for, in the words of Anthony Slater, having a confusing role, being jerked around, and just not really knowing what the Warriors want of him. He thinks that third-year player option would be fair. And I've seen a lot of people in the comments saying, done, just throw him the player option. He deserves the player option. It becomes a lot less tradable. Maybe a not. How much less tradable? It depends how he looks at the beginning of the season and really what the deadline market looks like and how other teams view Kuminga. But that player option, let's put it this way. 2 years guaranteed. He would be on the Warriors or whoever they potentially trade him to, which is the most likely scenario. So after that second year, that third year, Jonathan Kaminga controls everything. So if he has blown up, let's say they trade him to a team like, let's just throw in Sacramento. They trade him to Sacramento at the deadline in a straight up swap for Malik Monk. They no longer have to get Moses or Buddy involved to make that money work. It's a straight up swap. Trojan horse the entire time. They wanted Malik Monk. They make that deal. And after 2 years, Jonathan Kaminga has blown up. Like the Sam Amick report came true. They figured it out. Kaminga's averaging 29 points per game. Then, instead of Sacramento basically saying, hey, we're going to bring Jonathan Kaminga back on a $24 million deal for his third season, Jonathan Kaminga obviously would hit the market and command like $60 million if he's averaging 29 points per game. So that's one way. The other with a player option would be if Kuminga's not good, if he goes to Sacramento in this situation and he's just not a good fit at all. Then that third year, the Kings want to get that money off the books. Kuminga's is not so fast. I may not be getting another contract again in the NBA after the season, but I'm opting into this third year. Or he's hurt. You know, the first 2 years, it's a situation like, I mean, there are so many of them throughout the association where you sign someone and they just don't play for you. And it's like, well, we got them locked up under contract. And that is the issue of that player option as compared to the team option. It's just a little less tradable. How much less tradable? I guess we'll find out. Will this thing go down to the deadline? October 1st is when Jonathan Kaminga has to make a decision one way or the other in terms of the qualifying offer or accepting one of these deals. I don't think the Warriors, I think they are remaining steadfast, and I do think that they truly believe that they hold enough leverage in this situation and that Kaminga would not sign the QO to the point where I don't think they throw in the team option. Maybe just like a 3-year, a flat 2-year deal. 2 years, 50 million. 3 years, they bring it down to 72 million, something along those lines. But I would have assumed that we were getting extremely close with the news leaking. And again, how close are we? I thought this deal was going to get done in July. Thought it may get done in late June. It's been a minute, to say the least. Coming up, the Wild Wild West. We're talking all about the Western Conference and why one of the biggest things standing in the way of the Warriors having a really successful season are just all the teams that are really good in this conference that they're fighting with. Let's discuss. Give me your thoughts in the comments in the chat. This is Locked On Dubs. All right, today's episode is brought to you by our friends over at Monarch Money. Most people cannot name all their financial accounts or even what they're worth, whether it's 401ks, properties, or investments. And whether you don't have the full picture, that's when you can end up leaving money on the table. That's why there's Monarch Money. It's an all-in-one personal financial tool that brings your entire financial life together in one clean, easy-to-use interface on your laptop or on your phone. Monarch is built for people with busy lives. If you've put off organizing your finances, Monarch's for you. Does the heavy lifting. You can link all your accounts in minutes, see clear data visuals, get smart categories. Oh my God, I keep doing that. Get smart categorization of your spending, and finally feel in control of your money without ever touching a spreadsheet. The word categorization is tough. Monarch Money is not. It's easy to use. It's easy to link in a partner. So don't let financial opportunities slip through the cracks. Use code LOCKEDONNBA at monarchmoney.com in your browser for half off your first year. That is 50% off your first year at monarchmoney.com with code LOCKEDONNBA. Also, if you have not heard of Doer, now is the time to check out the store. I've been meaning to tell you about my favorite jeans wear brand for a long time. And here I am to tell you about the performance denim slim straight that has changed the game. The best part, a brand new store is open in San Francisco, right in Hayes Valley. Here's why you'll want to stop by. 5 times the stretch of traditional denim. It is not just jeans. It's also jeans wear. So you got shirts, antibacterial. They stay fresh longer. They got Cool Max technology, which means it regulates your temperature and wicks away moisture. It's classic jeans wear style and the comfort of athletic wear, the best of both worlds. Once you try them, it will be your go-to. They got a new store. It's now open at 567 Hayes Street in Hayes Valley. Mention my code, LOCKEDONSF. You'll get 15% off your first order, or shop online at shopdoer.com/LOCKEDONSF. That is Doer, D-U-E-R, and you'll get 15% off. All right. Wild, Wild West time. Last year, we went through the tour during the summer where I brought on all the different, maybe that's why it's been such a long summer. I didn't do the Wild, Wild West tour. I didn't get, the hosts of Locked On Clippers and Locked On Pelicans and Locked On Spurs onto the program to talk about hypothetical trades like I did a season ago, as if any of them were going to happen. But it's what you do in the late summer months. You talk about the hypotheticals. It's hypothetical season. Hypotheticals in terms of who's going to be good in the West. Last year, it was actually very easy to predict. I think the Rockets were probably the most surprising team when it was all said and done. I think the Rockets and the Spurs last year were both kind of on the same level as teams to watch out for. They should be frisky, but maybe not there yet. And the Rockets were just about there, man, taking the Warriors to 7, and now they add in Kevin Durant. I think the Rockets are up there with Oklahoma City 1-2 in this conference as the teams to beat. I know Minnesota has now gone to back-to-back Western Conference finals, and Dallas is reloaded to some degree. Denver should be awesome. Denver may be the team to beat realistically, but you got to throw Houston up there. We're not even talking Reed Shepherd for the most part, and who knows how good Reed Shepherd's going to be. He didn't shoot the ball great a season ago. That's the one thing, though, that the Houston Rockets are missing is their 3rd overall pick from last season coming out and really, I don't even need to say balling, just being a complementary depth piece at the point guard position, because behind Van Fleet, it's Aaron Holiday. And then aside from that, they're not made up of guards for the most part. I mean, this is a team that has Amen Thompson, Kevin Durant, Alperen Şengün, Jabari Smith, Tari Eason. So they don't need some crazy breakout performance from Reed Shepherd. They just need him to be better, to hit some shots, and to be viable defensively to the point where he can be their backup point guard. But they get that from Reed Shepherd, and the Rockets get some growth from Amen Thompson to the point where, he takes his offensive game to a different level, because he's all defense in the NBA, and he is a fascinating young athletic freak. But if he can start knocking down some shots, work on that elbow J, this team's going to be a force to be reckoned with in that dynasty that ESPN loves to coin for Oklahoma City. Watch out. Houston may be a problem. Now, fortunately, the Golden State Warriors have had their numbers and have given them nightmares for quite some time. So until they get that little monkey off their back, you always like your chances, but they should be good. They should be really good. And they have some players that have hit that age where you would not be shocked if they took the next level in their career. Jabari Smith, Thompson, Shingun, Shepard, really Eason too, all of them. So Rockets should be interesting. I think they're in that top tier. Top tier to me right now is Oklahoma City, it's Denver, and it's Houston. That's 1, 2, 3. And maybe it's disrespectful to the Timberwolves considering they just keep getting the job done, but they lose Nickeil Alexander-Walker this offseason. I can't remember off the top of my head if they did much else, but that's a team that's set up through Anthony Edwards. They got Julius Randle, Rudy Gobert, Naz Reid. We know what the Minnesota Timberwolves are capable of, and it's going to all come down to, does Anthony Edwards get even better? Does he turn into the best player in this league? That is how Minnesota takes their talents over the top. Otherwise, to me, they're not in that 1, 2, 3 tier. Like I said, it's Denver, it's OKC, it's Houston. Now, who is in that next tier? Could it be the Warriors? The West is crazy, man, because if the Warriors went to the East, I don't see why they can't be number 2 in the East. Maybe Cleveland 1, New York 2, Warriors 3, Warriors 2, New York 3, Orlando 4, Detroit 5. Eastern Conference with Indiana and Boston facing the injuries that they faced. Milwaukee, they added Miles Turner. Maybe Milwaukee has a resurgence. Philadelphia is at least going to be interesting to watch with some of the young players that they have, but Embiid's always hurt. Paul George may be cooked. The Eastern Conference is not that impressive. The West, meanwhile, I mean, you're looking 4, 5, 6. Clippers, Lakers, Warriors. Are those 4, 5, 6? But then, like, what about the Spurs, who have De'Aaron Fox, Stephon Castle, Devin Vassell, Victor Wembanyama, Harper once he returns from injury. You have Keldon Johnson. Like, that team's got some players going up and down the list. We'll get into kind of who is the 4, 5, and 6 range, but I want to get into some of the teams that we believe aren't going to be anything to watch in the Western Conference. And to me, that is the Utah Jazz. And I will say, as a Warriors fan, I'm interested to watch for one reason. I do think that maybe, just in the back of his mind, Jonathan Kuminga looks at a situation like Utah and says, man, if I'm not on that qualifying offer and the Warriors kind of control where I go, they were interested in Lauri Markkanen. The Jazz had some interest in me plus Moses Moody plus I, and some draft picks could probably make that money work. I don't want to go to Utah. Keep me away from Utah. That is the worst team in the Western Conference, in my opinion. Second worst, I mean, I don't see Sacramento doing anything, but that can't be the second worst team in the league. I don't see Phoenix doing anything. I don't think that can be the second worst team in the league with Devin Booker and company. I mean, I guess the Pelicans, but they have some good players, man. Murphy, Herb Jones, Jordan Poole, Kevon Looney, Zion Williamson, if he's healthy. So I don't know. Dallas Mavericks, if healthy, you're talking Cooper Flagg, you're talking Klay Thompson, you're talking Anthony Davis, Kyrie Irving. They have some bodies. Now, the Portland Trail Blazers are a team that's interesting to me because I'm sure a lot of people are going to pick them near the bottom of the Western Conference, and that's fair. They weren't great last season by any means. They weren't a great shooting team, but they do have some really nice players that I'm buying stock for. Let's start with Tamani Kamara. Casual NBA fans are going to start to learn this dude's name. He could play defense, plays the game the right way, good rim protector, just a really nice 52nd overall pick that was sent their way several years ago. 6'8", All defensive second team honors a season ago. One of the best wing defenders in the NBA and still decent at offense to the point where he was averaging nearly 13.8 per, not nearly, he was averaging 13.8, nearly 14 points per game post All-Star break, and shot at 40% from three. So versatile, elite defender, can switch anything. The question is perimeter shooting, and then just his ability to handle. What's that going to be? But he's a nice complementary piece. And then you got Denny Avdia, who averaged 16 last season. That's a former lottery pick that Washington traded to Portland. He had the best season of his career. A big guy that can shoot. Then you got Shaedon Sharpe, who can roll out of bed and give you 20. If he can form some sort of a reliable jumper, we're talking dangerous. Scoot Henderson, not a great shooter himself, but man, can he fly. I mean, he's got that jaw, that Russell Westbrook, that D Rose type freak athleticism that's like generational, just so fast. And then you got Biggs and Hanson Yang, and we know all about him from some of the Warriors mock draft shows, and Donovan Clingan. So you got two legit big ass 7-footers that can kind of battle each other, and you figure out who's your center of the future between the two. And then don't forget about Time Lord Robert Williams. R.I.P. Robin, the man, Bay Area legend. But you got Time Lord Robert Williams. Last year, it felt like Jeremy Grant was kind of a name that, you know, needed to do some things and score some points and be a fixture for Portland when the season started. Now, if Jeremy Grant's getting more than 20 minutes a night, something went terribly wrong because you have so much young talent. And don't forget, 19th in shooting in the NBA last season. This team will add in Dame at some point, likely after this season once he heals completely from the Achilles. But you got Dame, and that's why I'm saying this is a frisky team to watch out for that may not be great this year, but you may be able to see them coming throughout the season, where all of a sudden Sharpe and Henderson and Avdia and I didn't even mention Drew Holiday. They trade Anthony Simons for Drew Holiday, so they got their lockdown defensive on-ball point guard. Who is a seasoned vet who's playing under Chauncey Billups, who can coach up Scoot Henderson and some of these young players. I'm buying Blazers stock and shocking some people. I like it. And then you add in Dame Lillard potentially next season. I think they're going to be a fun team to watch. And it didn't make sense at all when you looked at the roster a season ago with all these young dudes. And now you sprinkle in Drew Holiday. You have some of these younger guys getting just a little bit older. And then you think, all right, they're right on the cusp. If they're right on the cusp, they add in Dame Lillard. How good's he going to be? But I mean, that's not a bad offseason acquisition that you already know you have. And then Shaedon Sharpe could be a potential, if there's no agreement there, he could be potential trade bait. One of your bigs and Yang Hansen or Donovan Clingan could be potential trade bait if a team needs a big. So all of a sudden the roster construction starting to make a little more sense. I do like Portland shocking some people. Other teams near the bottom of the league, the Memphis Grizzlies, anytime you trade Desmond Bane, who I think's one of the most underrated players in the league, for Kentavious Caldwell-Pope and some draft picks, it makes me think that you're not serious about taking things to the next level. They do have some nice young players, Jalen Wells, Jaren Jackson Jr., John Morant, but this ain't 2022. Memphis, I have no idea what the hell they're doing, but it's not going to be winning the Western Conference this season. Who are the teams in the Western Conference that are in the Golden State Warriors tier? Are the Warriors in a tier of their own? Let's talk about this coming up on Locked On Dubs. All right, let's get to our sponsor from today's show. It is 5 Hour Energy. I'm a big fan of staying up late, and in order to do that, you know I need myself a little 5 Hour Energy. Caffeine got a flavor upgrade. 5 Hour Energy shots deliver tasty caffeine in 17 bold flavors. It's a 2-ounce shot and packs the caffeine of a premium 12-ounce cup of coffee, plus B vitamins and nutrients with zero sugar and zero crashes. What I love most is how portable they are. Big taste, tiny shot. You can take it anywhere and get the boost when you need it. One of my favorite flavors, blue raspberry, but they got tons of different flavors. And why I reach for a 5-hour energy, quite frankly, it's just the size. I don't want to be sipping on a 12-ounce cup of coffee all day. You shoot it back. You feel good. No jitters, no crash, sugar-free. Enough with the boring, flavorless caffeine, everyone. It's time to give your caffeine a flavor upgrade with 5-hour energy. Get the favorites you love or be bold and try something new in store and online at 5hourenergy.com or Amazon today. All right, so where do the Warriors, and we got 71 people watching. Please, someone get in the comments and leave me thoughts on the Western Conference and where you think the Warriors are going to wind up. I think 4 through 7 is kind of what I would imagine at this point, considering Thunder, Rockets are definitely my 1-2 and Nuggets 3. So that's my 1-2-3 in no particular order. The LA Clippers have a lot of smoke surrounding them right now and not good stuff. Acquisition, I guess the Bradley Beal acquisition, if you want to get excited about that, but accusations, Pablo Torre all over them. The Kawhi getting paid by fake companies and all these different legal terms that we all know about when it comes to the LA Clippers. Like, they may be in trouble. They also have an old team. They also have James Harden, who's never really got it done in the playoffs as one of your mainstays. So Clippers, I think last year was their best shot. I thought they were going to win it last year. I thought they were going to win the West. I really did. And they gave Denver everything they could handle, but were not able to pull it out. And I don't think the Clippers have it this year. I don't think the Bradley Beal acquisition does much for me. I think you're a little too late on Brook Lopez, even though I flirted with the Warriors picking him up. I'd much rather have Al Horford, though, to be honest with you, than Brook Lopez. I don't think that's a hot take at this point. But Clippers, I see them as the 6 this season. Los Angeles Lakers, I see as the 5, most likely. Question's obviously going to be health. LeBron James has stayed remarkably healthy throughout his career. He's old. He's old. At some point, I would not be shocked to see him miss significant time. And if that's the case, do the Lakers have enough in terms of their role players, especially? My answer, I don't know. I don't think so. So we'll put them at 5 right now. I'm going to put the Warriors at 4. Call me crazy. I'm going to put the Warriors at 4. I don't think the Kaminga – look, you could compare the Kaminga offseason drama to the likes of the punch when Draymond socked Jordan Poole in the face, and it was a weird start to the year. And that next year, after an NBA championship, after everyone got paid, the Warriors couldn't win games on the road, and it was just ugly. You can compare these situations, but I don't know. I mean, the Kuminga situation was weird last year come playoff time. I mean, there was a game or two where you didn't even see him on the bench. He wasn't active in huddles. You heard reports that he was like a ghost, just in the facility when he needed to get there. First person out. So this has been going on for a minute, and the Warriors were winning last year with it being a quote-unquote distraction. So if they get to some sort of deal with JK, I do think they'll be able to put it behind them and just go to work. I think they have enough veterans and enough leadership in the room to get that done. And I like the Warriors, man. If they get these deals with DeAnthony Melton, with Al Horford, I think it's going to be a better team than a season ago. And I think with Jimmy Butler a season ago, they would have been a top 5 seed in the West. So I'm taking them at 4 in front of the Los Angeles Lakers. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Very interesting. Because you can go Spurs. The Minnesota Timberwolves, the fact that I'm skipping over them, they just get disrespected over and over again. But I just thought the Warriors were better than the Timberwolves last year. And I think they're going to be better than them again. The Spurs are that wild card team that can really make a jump. The Kings, I'm not worried about. There's slight intrigue there to see everyone healthy together, and Dennis Schroeder, if, maybe if he treats the Golden One Center like it's Germany, he'll ball out, because when he goes overseas, man, he's the greatest player of all time. But NBA wise, he's just he's a fine point guard. He's getting paid what, $14-15 million a year to be the Kings point guard. So gone are the days of De'Aaron Fox and Tyrese Halliburton. Had them both at the same time, and now their point guard of the future is Dennis Schroeder. But I see the Kings not as a threat. The Phoenix Suns not as a threat. So, I mean, other teams that you look at, the New Orleans Pelicans, I don't see them necessarily as a threat. But the Dallas Mavericks are a team that I bring up is an interesting squad this upcoming season. They got talent, man. Just too much of it is relying on Anthony Davis's health, which is always it's a constant. It's death. It's taxes. It's Anthony Davis on the injury report. That's been pretty consistent. When he plays, he's unreal. Kyrie, even though he was listed at 40th on our NBA top 100 on Locked On, he's not the 40th best player in the NBA. That dude's awesome at basketball. So you would have to think with those two dudes and Cooper Flagg, if Flagg is as good as advertised, I think Flagg's going to be a very solid defender in the NBA from day one. My question is going to be, what's his offensive production look like? I think defensively, he's going to be able to guard from day one, and that'll be a welcomed addition. But again, Mavericks probably wish they had Quentin Grimes at this point. They wish they had Jalen Brunson at this point. They wish they had Kristaps Porzingis at this point. They wish they had their guy Luka Doncic at this point. They had a lot of talent, and that talent is now gone. But again, they still have different forms of talent in Kyrie and Anthony Davis and Cooper Flagg. And don't forget Klay Thompson, although it appears the best days of Klay are behind him. And at this point, he is nothing more than a very good shooter that is a solid role player, which is crazy to say, but life comes at you fast in the NBA, and I don't expect him to be getting back to all-star level. Not anytime soon, but ever again, for that matter. So Mavericks are kind of one of those wild card teams. I would say wild card teams are Spurs. They haven't proved anything. Mavericks. And then I don't think it's Memphis to me. I would say probably Spurs and Mavericks. Those are my two wild card teams. So that's how I feel about it. Let's get to the comments. Let's see what everyone's got going on tonight. What is up? Chocolatey Cat Soup says, I'm not going to be paying any attention to this team. Chocolatey Cat Soup. What a guy. Not going to be paying any attention to this team until Kaminga is either off, until they've agreed on some sort of deal. It's just bad vibes to begin the season. Well, yes. He's either going to be off the team or agreed to on some sort of deal when the season starts. And frankly, there's no need to pay attention. We appreciate you for paying attention to the program tonight, but there's no need to pay attention until that deal is done, because the Warriors aren't going to make any moves until then. But once that deal is done, one way or the other, it's going to move quickly. The roster is going to shape up. And I mean, we're 2 weeks away, less than 2 weeks away from getting this thing started. We got a bunch of, I think, Chinese symbols that I do not know. I would love to learn Chinese someday, but unfortunately, I don't think that's on the docket anytime soon. If there's ever another like shutdown, a pandemic or something, I'll be fluent. But Lakers have no defense. Clippers should be better. Warriors seem like a better regular season team than the Lakers. I don't know about the Clippers. Both teams are old. Yeah, Clippers and Warriors have some similarities in that fashion, but and the Clippers have had the Warriors number, man. Nuggets and Clippers are those two teams that have just beaten the Warriors' asses lately, and the Pacers. Good God. But, yeah, I'm not terrified of the Lakers. I wasn't last year. Clippers, it's coin flip. They got a lot going on in terms of the behind-the-scenes stuff. Warriors 4th or 5th from Tran. Yep, I would agree. From our guy, the Kaminga drama is worse than Draymond punching Poole, because at least with Poole, we all knew the one incident. With JK, it's been a long and slow burn, and quite frankly, we are all tired of it. It's been worse for the fans, for sure. And maybe, just maybe, there's a lot of animosity from some of the players on the Warriors. Publicly, they're not going to state that. But we have no idea how they feel inside that locker room with what's going on with the negotiations. I think we'll be able to see right away, though, within the first 5 games, that dynamic. If Kaminga does wind up the beginning of the season on the team, whether on the qualifying offer, the contract, you'll be able to see whether Steve Kerr actually plans on letting him run like he said, or whether he's just, spot minutes or load management nights or whatever. And based on his body language, I think you'll be able to see whether Kaminga is actually down with the mission or whether this thing's getting ugly. And I'm going to take the former, that it'll work out one way or the other. Now, I think he's going to be traded, but I do think there is a level of professionalism to where once the season starts, assuming Kaminga gets what he wants, then he'd be on board. But again, he'd have to get what he wants, and that's a player option right now. So Arad says Warriors will be in the play-in again. They can't close games when they have leads. They're old, and the West got much stronger. Hey, I mean, it went down to the final game of the season last year between play-in and top 6 seeds in the playoffs. And the way the West looks right now, I wouldn't be shocked if that were the case again. Kings, Grizzlies, Spurs, and the Mavs could all surprise us. Spurs and Mavs, yeah, I don't see it with the Kings or the Grizzlies. I don't know. Grizzlies did have some moments, though, where they were good last year, and they just fell off the wagon completely. New coaching staff, gone is Jenkins. So maybe that's the difference. And then Kings, they got a new ownership or new general manager. So we'll see what happens up there in the Capitol. But I just don't see how all those pieces that they have together right now are going to surprise us. Just my opinion, though. So anyways, that's what we got. Locked On Warriors. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network. I'm coming at you the rest of this week, actually doing a show on Thursday with some other members, actually everyone from the Pacific Division. So we'll have, the Lakers, the Suns, the Clippers, the whole gang will be on the show to break down what we feel about the teams in the conference. So that'll be a good way to learn some more about some of the teams in the West. And we'll go from there. We'll see what when an off season gives you nothing, you try to find lemons and turn it into lemonade. That's what we've been doing. All right, everyone. Have a great night. Have a great morning. Wherever you're listening, this is Locked On Warriors. Hit that like on the way out. See ya.